Hey guys, hey, it is Jason Morris here, and it is Wednesday, November 24th. We got Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I thought this was a great subject because I know there's a lot of you guys looking at these Black Friday specials and Cyber Monday specials and all this stuff. And can everybody hear me okay? I just want to make sure. Cool. So I thought this was a great topic for today about I think there's a lot of misconceptions in the real estate industry about what it takes to get listings, and especially with newer agents and some of the training that goes on in the world. So today, what I want to talk about was how to create a listing machine, what to do with your business. I know there's a lot of you guys watching Black Friday, Cyber Monday specials with a lot of lead services out there. I work a lot with RedX. I do a lot of training with them. They've used a lot of my content in training agents to use their products. And I've been a big believer of theirs, gosh, for probably 12, 13, 14 years, something like that. I really believe they have one of the best products and services out there. And I really believe that their staff, the creators, the CEO, Mark Leck, they want you to succeed without a doubt. They're some of the smartest people I talk to on a regular basis. So, a lot of today, we're going to gear it towards their products and services just because they do have a tremendous Cyber Monday sale that they have going on, and they're one of the most reliable sources of lead data out there, or lead data. So there's two ways to create a listing machine, right? The number one way is you can go out and prospect for business, right? You can go out and look for it. Now, the thing for me, this has always been my preferred way because it works, right? Number one, you go out and look for business. Number two, you can buy a business. You can sit there and wait for business to come to you. Now, the thing about number two I don't like is we're looking at number two. Sometimes we don't know what business is going to come. We don't know how much that business is going to cost us. And, man, sometimes we don't know how we're going to discount our services, right? Just like a lot of these flat fee listing companies, they are literally getting listings because they advertise a flat fee listing rate, and they are discounting so much they are technically buying business. They're giving up commissions in order to get more leads. And one of the things with buying business too is that we don't know what our conversion ratios are going to be exactly. And we don't know what's going to happen with that business sometimes we buy. So it's pretty unpredictable. I remember this guy telling me, I was working at this large office with about 125 agents. I was the number one listing agent in the office at the time. And this guy told me, he goes, man, I don't like to prospect. I like to wait for people to call me. Well, the difference between me and him was he was spending like $3,000-4,000 a month on his marketing, $5,000 a month. And he literally had 3 listings where I had about 45 listings at the time. So there's definitely a big difference. And sometimes if you're waiting, you're going to be waiting a long time. So that's really it. You can either prospect for business or you can buy business. That's it. So I've always been a fan too of leading with revenue, right? Maybe for Facebook and some of these publicly traded companies, leading with debt, leading with marketing expenditures works, but it hasn't been for me, man. I like to go out there. I like to make money. I like to know I'm going to make money and then increase my business or take my business where I want it to go with the revenue created versus with my credit card, right? How do you guys feel about that? I'm a big believer in leading with increasing your business with revenue. And you can do this with prospecting. It's hard to do that, man, with buying business. You got to go out and spend money and hope the business comes in. Disclosure, I'm going to go ahead and give credit. I was looking through some RedX training. I was looking through some training I did with them. They created some great graphics for training I did with them. I took their graphics. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and give them credit right up front here. I took their credit. They have a Cyber Monday special. If you mention Jason Morris, there's some special deals and they waived the $150 setup. So let's get started. So what is RedX for you guys that don't know? RedX is a real estate uh, lead data service, right? They provide expired leads, for sale by owner leads, for rent by owner leads. They have pre-foreclosure services, and they have Geo Leads. And what they do is they basically create these algorithms. It's really smart people. They create these algorithms that go out and say 123 Main Street expireds. They have large databases. They search, and what they do is they take the data that comes from MLS, the data that comes from the tax services, and then they have these databases, and they use an algorithm to find hopefully what the best number is for 123, the owner of 123 Main Street, right? For sale owners, a little different. They go out there and basically gather them through an algorithm that's very similar. For rent owners too, pre-foreclosures, they get the filings from your county, and they use that same sort of algorithm to go basically dig through databases to look for the contact information. So that's what RedX does. Now, mine data, what it is this data they went out there and looked for. It's not somebody going and filling out a form on Facebook. I want to make sure we're clear about that, because mine data, here's the thing, it's never going to be 100%. It's never going to be 100% accurate, but it is accurate enough that you can go out and make a tremendous amount of money. So all the expired services out there, all of them are using mined data, right? So I want to tell you guys that. So let's get started here. So this is really what your business should look like. This is what your listing business should look like. It should look like a funnel, and at the top of that funnel, right there where it says leads, we should be dumping as many leads as possible in. As we're dumping leads in, that first conversation is where we're calling those leads for the first time. That's where we're calling the brand new expireds. We're calling that list the first time, and we're looking for that first conversation. Now, that first conversation, guys, I'm going to tell you, sometimes it might not be the conversation you're looking for, because a lot of you guys are calling looking for that come list me conversation, right? So lots of times we don't get that on the first call. Okay, what we'll get though, what we're looking for is we're looking for that seller that says, yes, Jason, I want to sell my house. I want $150,000 for it, and I'd like to have it sold by the spring. Or I'm selling it because I have to move for my job. Or I'm selling this house because I'm tired of renting it out. I'm tired of being a landlord, right? We're looking for a confirmation. We're looking for basically, is this the correct contact information for that seller? Is this house for sale? Do they really want to sell it? How much they want for it, and what is their motivation? Right? That's what we're looking for. Now, like I said, a lot of these leads, what it's going to take for you to list it, you need to just go ahead and decide and go ahead and accept, right, that most seller leads, whether you're calling for sale owners, expireds, for rent by owners, is going to take follow-up. Okay, Chad Holmes, the Ultimate Sales Machine, he said that one of the things he said was that for luxury services, when he designed sales systems for Fortune 500 companies, he said that these companies, or these buyers for luxury items, would take a minimum of 6 to 8 follow-ups. And this has been about 10, 12 years ago, right? Take 6 to 8 follow-ups attempts. Now, 2021, man, we've got a lot of distractions out there, right? So they would design, at that time, they would design follow-up plans with 13 follow-up attempts, right? Now, looking at that, number one, I think it's really interesting looking at that. And this was 10, 12, 15 years ago. If they were designing at least 6 to 8 follow-ups, or saying at least 6 to 8 follow-ups with a 12 to 14 follow-up system, And that was for a luxury item. And that was probably watches, boats, cars, things like that, right? A lot of that wasn't real estate sales, which is let's face it, guys, we sell the most expensive thing most people will ever buy. Um, and we should be taking each lead service and we should be going ahead and mapping out a 12 to 14, 15 step lead follow-up plan, right? Now, that plan, we need to follow up with a sense of helping. We need to follow up with that. You can't follow up and go, hey, Jason, hey, Mr. Seller, hey, John Smith, hey, you want to sell your house today? Guys, that don't work. We already know that, right? But you know what? We can follow up with useful things. I talk about that a lot in my group coaching, following up with a purpose and following up with a plan and following up with useful information. So as you can see, the biggest part of this funnel really is the follow-up. Then we go into listing appointments. Now, a lot of agents don't quite get this. Okay, you go on the listing appointment. What do you do if you don't get the listing? A lot of agents, what they do when they don't get the listing is they leave the house. They're sad, they're disappointed, they never call the person back again. Now, the reason why a lot of them didn't list with you, a lot of times, man, has nothing really to do with you or what you said or didn't say. Lots of times, the reason they didn't list with you is just because maybe they weren't ready to sign the paperwork right then. Maybe they wanted to look over it. Maybe the husband and wife wanted to talk in private without you there. Maybe they had a couple of questions they weren't sure about. Sometimes, man, the listing appointment, that's when things get real, Hey, we've had this little red and white for sale by owner sign out for a month, but now, man, we're signing some paperwork and got a guy here telling us he's going to sell it. Like, holy shit, maybe this house is going to sell, honey. What are we going to do? Maybe they need to have that conversation without you, right? So what happens if you get to level 4 here, the listing appointment, and you don't get the signed listing? What you do is you follow up with those people, right? Man, those are the craziest, best leads you can have because they've already met you in person. They already know what you're going to do. You've already talked about price. You've had an in-depth conversation probably about what you can do for them and what their needs are, right? So if you don't get the listing, you should definitely follow up. You should call the next day, right? Sometimes, get this, guys, sometimes they like what you had to say, but guess what, man? You left the appointment and a week later, they're ready to put their house on the market and they forgot what your number was. They lost your business card, right? It's like that sometimes. So I found this graphic and I really liked it. It made a lot of sense, right? We're all out there doing different things and we're marketing and stuff with hopes of actually getting on the phone and talking to somebody, talking to somebody who wants to buy or sell a house, right? The business is really simple. For some reason, we overcomplicate it, but the real estate business is really simple. We're either talking to buyers about buying a house, we're talking to sellers about selling a house, and really the objective is to get on the phone with them, to have a conversation with them, have an actual conversation with them, right? And I thought this was really interesting because I was like, man, I've always learned in my business that my best, most effective thing to do is pick up the phone and call. If I wanted to work more sellers, the best thing I could do is pick up the phone and call people that I thought wanted to sell the house. But I seen this graphic and I was like, man, that is actually brilliant. I want to share it with you guys today. If you're doing email marketing, you go out there, you got to combine a list. You got to send out weekly emails. You got to come up with content for that list every single week. Then you got to hope that somebody emails you back. Then you got to set up a time to talk, and then you got to get on the phone, man. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, really. 5 steps before you get on the phone with them. One thing I've learned about my business, and just about all of us, this is the biggest thing I've learned being a real estate coach and helping agents with their businesses and looking at my own business over the last 17, 18 years, is the more complicated I make it, the more steps that are in the middle, the least likely I am to do it. Guys, I've seen agents out there crushing it with email marketing lists. I've seen it, man. I know some of them, right? but there's very few that can do that day in, day out, and every single week and make progress with it, right? Maybe they do it for a few weeks, and they forget about it, then they get busy, and then they don't have time, and they don't have time to create the content and all that stuff. Facebook ads the same way, man. You go out here and you spend money, spend money, spend money. And the thing for most of you guys is, hey, you don't have that big budget. You don't have that big checking account where you can actually go out and test ads. So usually by the time most of you guys are finding an ad that works, your budget's gone for the rest of the month, right? Or you spent so much money, you feel like it's getting painful. You know what I mean? So with Facebook ads, it's the same way. You go out here and you spend money for views. You hope somebody fills out your form. You hope somebody messages you, right? Then you got to set up a time to talk. Then you get on the phone with them, right? Social media, same thing. Whether you're doing TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, you got to go out there. You got to create content. It's actually more steps than this. You got to go out there and you got to basically, who are you going to target? Who are you going to add to your social media? You got to go out and create content. You got to hope people respond to the content, right? Then you got to hope people message you or you message them, and then you got to set up a time to talk and to get on the phone, where really a lot of that busy work we can skip by going ahead and calling people that we know want to do what we do, right? That we know need our services. Which is really interesting, like buying a car. If you're out there selling cars, I think buying a car mostly is an emotional thing. Sometimes it's a need, but lots of times it's emotional. You got to go out there and do all this marketing. You got to do all this marketing. Hope that you're talking to the right people at the right time with your message. And there's not a list of people that are looking to buy cars today, right? But in the real estate industry, we're so damn lucky, because you know what? There's lists of people out there that probably want to do something today, right? So top seller lead sources, and I'm going to tell you why I believe these are the top, and I believe that you guys should be focusing on them to build that listing machine that we've talked about, right? Number one is expired listings. Now I'm including withdrawn and canceled listings in this. The reason why I'm saying expired listings is because this lead source, we have more information on this lead source than we do any other seller lead source that we could possibly have. We're going out there. We have pictures from the old MLS listing. We have a description from the previous agent. We have the tax map information. We have everything, man. We have everything. We got an address. I mean, everything, right? The only listing that you could put on the market today that you might have more information on is your own personal house or a home that you own. Maybe you have more information on it than that. But expired listings, I know there's a lot of agents out there, and they say, well, I'm not really getting that many expireds in my market, so I quit calling them because I only get 1 or 2 leads a day. Well, here's the thing with that, man. A lot of other agents in your market quit calling them because, hey, they only get 1 or 2 leads a day. But let's say you got 1 lead a week. Okay, that's 30 leads this month. Then you got 30 leads last month. You get 30 leads next month. You get 30 leads the month before last, Next thing you know, 3, 4, 5 months go by. You got 120, 150 leads to call. So how much is a listing worth in your market? Some of you guys listening to this, a listing is worth $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, right? A lot of you guys, it's worth $8,000 to $10,000 right now, especially with price increases. And, with that being said, what if you could add 1 extra listing to your business every month? That's $120,000 a year for a lot of you. That's another $100,000 a year. Okay, what if you you're really bad at this, right? But you called every day, called 30, 45 minutes, called expireds, followed up with old ones, called all the people you hadn't got in touch with, the things we're supposed to do. what if you done that and you just took one extra listing every 6 weeks, right? I mean, that's 8, 9 listings a year. And if you price it right, it sells. And if you price it even remotely right in today's market right now, it's selling. So we're talking about an extra $50,000, $60,000 for most of you guys. What could you do with extra $50,000, $60,000? And we're talking about a process that's just going to take you another 30 minutes a day for a service that costs you $60 a month, right? And that's another thing. It's probably one of the lowest priced lead sources that you can get out there. It's the lowest price with the most information. And I see agents go, oh God, I don't want to call expireds. And you go like, dude, for $60 a month, you can get the standard RedX service, right? If you get one lead a day, you're just talking about spending $2 a lead. If you get $2 a day, you know, and it seems like expireds are increasing across the country. Plus, they'll give you the old data. You just have to call them and talk to their tech support about how to do it in your market. There's a lot of opportunity a lot of you guys are missing out on because you are not calling expired listings. I believe that's the #1 seller lead source out there, right? There's some of you guys that say, oh, well, they're mean to me. They're mean to me. Guys, they're mean to everybody. They don't like the situation they're in, right? For sale owners. One of the biggest reasons I think you need a service and you need to subscribe to a service is because you want to be able to open your laptop, push the on button, and you have leads that are waiting on you, right? Without having to go through and gather them from Craigslist, Zillow, your local newspapers, all this stuff, right? Just turn on your laptop, start making calls. Now, for sale owners, I put these as #2. And the thing about for sale owners is most of them list. I know there's some funky percentages or something like that out there. I don't even want to throw out any numbers on that or take any guesses, but most of them list their house. Okay, most of them, your average client out there has never sold their own house, or they haven't sold a house themselves in the last 5 years, right? Your most experienced clients, most of us will work with, probably have sold less than 3 or 4 homes, right? The ones that have sold 5 homes or more in the state that you're in the market that you're in, dude, those are probably the top 1% of experienced clients. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of for sale owners, I have a book, How to Be a For Sale Owner Master, and we don't really have time to get into it today, but a lot of for sale owners, honestly, man, the biggest reservation they have on working with you is they don't know how you work, right? So you have to have a system and you have to have a process set up that when you talk to them and you present your service to them, that you're doing it accurately in a way that they can understand, that your paperwork, you're explaining it to them so they can understand, right? We're like one of the few professions out there that literally reads 10, 12-page legal documents all the time. We live, breathe, and eat these listing agreements and stuff sometimes, right? But still, some of us can't properly explain them so that the general public can truly understand, right? There's a lot of big words in there. It's truly a legal document, right? I'll tell you what, if you guys really want to change if you really want to change your business, take out your listing agreement, take out your paperwork, take out a sheet of paper and thoroughly go down through them where you can explain each section in 1 sentence or less. And I promise you, if you practice that, it will change the amount of paperwork you're getting signed, right? You guys, you ever go through your paperwork, you go through that 10, 12 pages, 15 pages in your listing agreement, you see the sellers, it looks like their eyes are rolling back in their head. It's probably because you're sitting there and reading it word to word, word for word to them. And they have no idea what you're talking about, guys. But a lot of for sale owners and listing them is a follow-up game. Hey, you know what? I hear all the time, I hear agents say, well, you know what? They're for sale owners and expireds, they're mean. And I go, well, you know, number one, they don't know you when you call them. You're the equivalent of a cold caller. That's number one. Number two is A lot of them don't know how you work. They don't understand how you work. They've heard crazy stories from all over the, people they know and all this stuff about agents never calling them back and all this stuff, right? You have to build trust and you have to build a follow-up plan for these people. So for rent by owners, this is probably one of the most overlooked lead sources I think out there right now. For it by owners, one of the things that we have going on right now, but I think this is something that we all should be spending more time and focusing on, is we've had coronavirus moratoriums and coronavirus everything for the last 12 going on 18 months. Man, there's a lot of tired landlords out there. There's a lot of landlords. They never intended to be a landlord. They got stuck with this property. They've been renting it out for several years. Now, all of a sudden, they got a tenant in there that didn't pay them rent. And they can't kick them out. Guys, there's so much of this going on across the country, and the courts are backed up. And believe me, there's a lot of inventory out there that are these for rent by owner people that are just tired of doing it. They're tired of doing it, man. And if you can go out there and you can, RedX offers a service where they send the for rent by owners to you. They automatically put them in your in the CRM that they come with called Vortex. If you can go out there, create a database, stay in contact with these people, basically make your for rent by owner farm. You've got a couple of things going for you. Number one, you'll have a big list of people that literally own second homes, vacation properties, long-term rentals that really don't have a lot of emotional attachment to it, right? It's just for investment purposes. One thing for me that I've learned over the years is if it's for rent, it's probably for sale. You just got to ask the right questions. But you've got this big list of people that don't really have that emotional attachment. It isn't the house they raise their kids in lots of times, it isn't the house they currently live in, for sure. And if they can walk away, put a little money in their pocket, walk away, get out from under a headache without taking money out of their pocket, dude, a lot of them are wanting to do it. So that's my top three right there. Services, right? Expired listings, for sale by owners, for rent by owners. Now, the most versatile service I feel like this out there that RedX offers, and there's some other services offering some variations of this, is Geo Leads. Right? Geo Leads is very inexpensive. Costs $30-$40 a month. You can get signed up today and you start making calls. Now, what Geo Leads is a service that what you can do is you can put in an address, say a community, and you can look up everything in that community, right? You can get numbers for everybody in the community. Okay, and you can do one-off lookups. So let's say you're looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. You can put their information in there. A while back, I did this webinar for RedX. I'd been doing some training about Geo Leads and about using these software services. I am not a cold caller. I've never been a cold caller. I've never been that person that's going to sit there on the phone and just hammer out calling basically the equivalent of the phone book, right? Hoping that I get somebody who wants to sell. I don't like to do that. I like to call people with a purpose, right? I like to call people that I feel like are high probability leads. They were an expired, they're for sale by owner, for rent by owner, or they've got some problem that I feel like I can help them with. Maybe they're pre-foreclosure, some version of that. But Geo Leads is very interesting because with this service, there's a lot of things you can do. And one of the things I did was I talked about 14 different ways you can use it. And they created some great slides, and I'm going to go down through these with you guys. 14 ways to use Geo Leads to get more listings. Number one, you can cold call. You can look up streets, neighborhoods, radius around it. And you can sit there and just hammer out phone calls, right? If you want to call, say, hey, the Palace Resort, and and you want to call all 200 condos in there, you can put the address in there and just hammer away with Geo Leads and call them all. Call them all. Hey, Jason Morris with XYZ Realty. You want to sell your house today? You thought about selling your condo, right? If you want to call the neighborhood you live in, this is the way to do it, right? So number one, you can strictly just go out there and make cold calls. Number two, just listed. Now, just listed, make calls around properties you or office listed, right? You ever notice how when one house goes on the market, it isn't very long until another house comes on the market right down the street? Hey man, get out there in front of those things. When you list that house at 123 Main Street, go ahead, put it in MLS, and the next day call around. And hey, it's an easy script too. Easy script. Just call them and go, hey, Jason Morris with XYZ Realty. Just want to tell you, just want to give you a quick call. We just put 123 Main Street on the market. Just put your neighbor's house on the market. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage. I was just giving you a call. I wanted to see if you knew anybody looking to move into your neighborhood to be your new neighbor. Oh, great, you do? I'll be glad to send you over the information on the house. Hey, you know anybody else looking at selling? We've been getting a lot of response on this house already. Do you know anybody looking at maybe selling their house there? Every now and then you'll get that neighbor that says, well, I'm not interested in selling mine, but my neighbor 3 doors down told me that they'd like to sell theirs here soon. And you go, hey, fantastic. Do you have a number for them? So just sold another one. Hey, this is Jason Morris from XYZ Realty. Just want to give you a quick call. We just sold 123 Main Street down the road from you. We got a lot of response on it. We have a lot of buyers still looking. Do you know anybody else you think might want to sell their house in your neighborhood? Right? Easy script. Just pending. You call that same neighborhood again. Hey, Jason Morris here with XYZ Realty. Just want to give you a quick call. Man, we just had 123 Main Street to go under contract. I wanted to give you a quick call and see if you knew anybody else that maybe wanted to sell their house in your neighborhood. Right? Easy, right? We're not talking about rocket science. No, number 5, open house invites. Open house invites. Think about that. A lot of agents are out there doing open houses. They're doing open houses. And what they're doing is they're sticking a red and white sign out front, maybe a couple balloons, and just hoping people show up. Now, what would happen, though, if you called that neighborhood a day or two before and just said, hey, Jason Morris here with XYZ Realty. Just want to give you a call. We're having an open house at 123 Main Street this weekend from 1 to 3. I wanted to make sure I invited you. Would you happen to know anybody looking to buy a house in your neighborhood? Right? Would you happen to know anybody looking to sell a house in your neighborhood? Right? And then after the open house, you have people come, you'll have people sign in, you'll get people's numbers, but how powerful would it be to call that neighborhood again, right? And hey, Jason Morris here with XYZ Realty. Just wanted to do a follow-up call with you. We had that open house on Saturday, and man, we had 22 people come through. We had 10 people come through. We had a lot of response to it. Hey, we missed you. Would you happen to know anybody else looking to sell their house in the neighborhood? Right? Easy call. Vacant homes, right? Using that single address lookup. You happen to drive by, you see a house that's got the grass that's waist high. Hey, you can call them with this. Hot neighborhoods. Man, we've seen that, especially right now. There's some of those neighborhoods that when something goes on the market, it goes pending multiple offers. The day it goes on the market, that's great use for this right here. Hot neighborhoods. Number 9, property delinquencies. People that haven't paid their tax bills. Right? You go down to the courthouse, you get a list of the tax auction stuff. Usually it's around this year, November, December, when they have those sort of auctions. And you can put those numbers in and call those people up and, hey, Mr. Thomas, we saw your house is on the property delinquency auction list. I wanted to give you a call. Property tax redemptions. People won't be long here. People can redeem those tax deeds they bought at auctions, right? Most of those people are just looking for a return. They have no emotional attachment to that particular property. Call them up. Hey, we see that you just got the tax deed to 123 Main Street. What are you planning to do with it? Do you think you want to sell it? Now, number 11, municipality filings. That's where, say a township has filed a lien. These are public filings. Basically, lots of times, might be, hey, they added a deck without a permit. Hey, they've condemned the property. There's a lot of different municipality filings that you can look up online. You can track down those owners. Owners of large tracts of land. Guys, there's not a lot of agents going out there calling owners of tracts of land. I mean, that's kind of funny. I mean, there's not many agents specializing in large land tracts. Very, very few. Number 13, right now, eviction filings. Guys, you got so many evictions in your market right now, you probably can't call them all. And they're all public record, right? Now, number 14, they put here on the slide, make calls to have conversations. You know what, man? There's a lot of opportunities out there, problems in neighborhoods, roads going through. And sometimes when that happens, we saw it in my market where they turned a 2-lane road into a 4-lane road. And all of a sudden, those people that had these big front yards didn't have big front yards anymore. So a lot of people that sold their houses for the only reason was, hey, man, now they got literally cars, 100 feet away where they had a big front yard. Now they don't. There's a lot of opportunities with Geo Leads. I mean, pretty much you get real creative with this software and this service. And guys, the last thing we want to talk about is a dialer. I get asked a lot about dialers. Why would you use them when you can just make calls without them? Well, guys, I'm going to just show you real quick. I'm going to just show you, 5 reasons I put this, but I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that I created. 5 reasons you need a dialer. Number 1, the CRM that's included with RedX's Storm Dialer 100% integrates with the dialer. So you can see exactly how many calls you make. You can put notes in there, schedule follow-ups. You can put if they answered, they didn't answer, pretty much whatever scenario you have. You can put a hot lead, a dead lead, and you can track that lead all the way until something happens with it one way or another. Number 2, using a dialer keeps you on track. There's not that hesitation before you dial the next number. It just automatically dialing the next number for you. A lot of us will see that next house is $1 million home where we're used to calling $200,000 homes. So then we got to procrastinate. We got to do all this stuff. And we spend 15 minutes basically chasing our tail to skip that number. With a dialer, it keeps you on track, man. It keeps you moving forward. The dialer tracks your numbers and results, so that way you can look back. You can look back after 2 weeks. You can look back after a month and say, hey, you know what? Every 7th person dialed, I had a conversation. It took me, I was thinking it was taking 23 contacts to get a listing. It turns out it's only taking 16, or maybe I was thinking it was taking 23 and it's taking 28. I need to dial more numbers, right? I need to dial more numbers to hit my goals. Automatically drops voicemails. That way you're not wasting time with that. I believe that you should leave a voicemail for every call that you make. And this will do it automatically. And number 5, you just get more dials per hour. Right? Okay, so I'm going to stop the share of this right here. I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to show you guys this spreadsheet real quick and show you exactly what a dialer will do for you. Okay, guys, I created this spreadsheet for my group coaching a while back. Okay, let's just say, for example, here you want to make make $300,000 a year, right? We plug $300,000 in there. Average commission $9,000. Total transactions you need to do about 33. So I'm going to change some numbers here real quick. Okay, you want to make $300,000 a year. Let's drop this down a little bit, man. Let's do 100,000. How many of you guys want to make $100,000 next year? We're going to put 5,000 there. Okay, we put $100,000 here. Hey guys, if you would put in the chat what your goal for 2022 is with your monetary goals. Put your monetary goals in the chat for me real quick, and we'll work through some of the numbers with those for a couple of you guys. So you'll make $100,000 a year. You're in a market that's not, not the best market, but you got alpha splits too. So you're taking on $5,000 per closing. That puts you guys doing about 20 transactions a year. So you need to list about 22 transactions to hit that goal. That's just the way it is. You got to do about 22. You got to take about 22 listings. That doesn't mean every listing is going to sell. What that means is that that for every listing you take, you're pretty much going to sell 0.9 to 1.1 properties. Okay. That's a number that I've seen throughout my career. It's a number I've seen with a lot of other coaches and throughout other agents' careers. If you want to sell 20 houses, you need to list about 20 houses. It doesn't mean every listing is going to sell, but you're going to get buyers that are going to buy from that, right? So these numbers I got from my group coaching from some surveys we did a while back. 1 out of 8 sellers answers the phone. Now that wasn't necessarily RedX. That was across the board with whatever service they were using. It's going to take about 23 conversations to set 1 appointment. And I put here, it's going to take about 3 appointments to get 1 listing. Okay. So if you're making 2 hours worth of calls a day and you're dialing with your phone, you're just finger dialing, maybe you can get through 25 calls an hour. Okay. This is without a dialer, without anything. You're getting through 25 calls an hour. Okay. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to schedule yourself in 2022, 243 work days. Okay. Which is a lot. That's taking about 100 days off, which that's pretty much every weekend still, but that's still not a lot. So let's take and say with a dialer, a single line dialer. Now RedX says that you can make 60 to 70 calls per hour with the single line dialer. Say that you can get 80 calls an hour. This is a single line. Now they do offer a triple line, but let's just say for the purpose of today, we're going to go on the low end of that and say that you're making 60 calls an hour. Did you see how your work days dropped? Did you see that? From 25 calls an hour to 60 calls an hour. Look at that. Less than half. Okay. Eric, we're going to make $250,000. You got a $13,000 average transaction. What you're making, you're going to need to do about 19, 20 transactions over the course of next year. Man, your numbers are pretty close to the same. But get this, guys. If you're in a good coaching program, you're working a system, you're working a sale, you've built a sales system that you're following, right? That way you're using scripts. The more you use scripts, the better you're going to get. The more you ask the same question over and over again. It won't be long until you know all the answers to that question. The way you get really good at scripts is using the same script over and over again. Right? It's talking to 1,000 sellers, 5,000 sellers, 10,000 sellers. It won't take long until you answer those questions, and you can almost tell what they're going to say before they even say it. You just know. You can tell by their posturing on the phone, tell by their tone of voice. You can almost tell by their breathing, like, oh yeah, I know what objection he's going to use. They want to use an agent right now. Oh, they only want to pay 3%. So, but let's say, for example, you started using your scripts and dialogues and you got like 10% better on the phone, Eric. Or let's say 20% better. You're role playing, using the same script, your role partners using the same script as you, and you got to where you were only having 19 conversations to set that 1 appointment, right? Okay, and then on top of that, you got a little bit better at the listing appointment, right? You went on more listing appointments. If you go on more listing appointments, you're going to get better at them. A lot of agents don't really get that, but if you want to get really good at taking listings on listing appointments, what you should do is use the same scripted presentation over and over again and just go on more listing appointments. That's all you got to do, right? So let's say you got really good and you started getting 1 out of 2. You got 50%, which, I mean, dude, that's fantastic. But you can even do better than that, right? Guys, look at this. Look at this, hours prospected a day, making 60 calls an hour. Dude, this puts your work days to where you got 54 work days. Now, the problem with this, I'm going to tell you guys the problem with this, because I know there's some of you guys listening to this right now. You're saying, hey, well, if it's that easy, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of agents that get out there, they get on the phone and they start showing results, right? They start showing results, they make some progress, and then what they do is they get a little complacent. When they get some listings, they get some listings, they get some deals under contract, they're starting to see some money in their checking account again, right? What they do is they get complacent, they start taking their foot off the gas, and they don't make the calls like they should be making the calls. All of a sudden, they were prospecting Monday through Friday, 2 hours a day. Now, they're prospecting, they do a little bit on Tuesday, maybe a little bit on Thursday or Friday, because they're going to be in the office anyway. Instead of working on Monday, they went and, they dropped off the kids at school, and then they just done nothing the rest of the day, right? There's a lot of agents doing this. I promise you, there's a lot of agents that could be doing way more than what they're doing, but they get a little complacent and they quit doing the things they should be doing. We see it with listing agents. We see it with buyer's agents too, right? Buyer's agents are going out there. They got 3 or 4 approved clients. They're working their butt off 7 days a week doing showings, killing themselves looking for buyers. And the first thing they do is they say, oh, I'm so busy. And they quit working the leads they have coming in. They quit working their Zillow leads. They quit working their realtor.com leads, right? Listing agents, they quit calling RedX. They quit calling their RedX leads. And then what happens is they basically, they quit doing what they were supposed to. So then those deals close, and then they got to spend a month. So they close 4 or 5 deals one month, and the next month they go into this little lull, and they got to go out there and they got to work really, really hard to try to build that momentum again. And, it takes a month or 2 to build momentum. It truly does. I'm not saying that you can't go out there and sell a lot of real estate in a month, but starting at 0 and selling a lot of real estate in a month is a little bit tough, because you know what? You have to build momentum. You have to build momentum. So guys, I appreciate you guys being on this call today with me. I hope that, did you guys learn something today? Did you take a few things from here that you can go out and use in your business, or at least help you make that transition in your business? So guys, I look forward to helping you. If I can, send me a message through Facebook, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.